What Trump is doing is not perfect, but it's good. What's going on with a lot of things that are happening in Iran? They're not perfect, but they're good. And people want to nitpick it, break it down, and tear it to pieces because it's not perfect. We don't have perfect. We're humans, right? We can't make these perfect plans. And people are all over Bibi, all over Trump, all over everyone in this for small things, and they want a perfect plan, and they're not letting a good plan go through because they expect perfect. They expect a perfect way to take the IRGC down, a perfect way. And this is just in general, in anything that's getting brought up, it's getting nitpicked to pieces. Like I talked to you yesterday about this pre-Islamic thing where you're trying to tie cultures, and you were very receptive to this. Later in the chat, when I talked to the guys, they tore me to pieces for it. I love them anyway, and we're open to how shall we say, having different perspectives and not being in an echo chamber. We don't do echo chambers here, but I have this sense that no matter what is being brought up, the things that go against the plan that is good are very, I wouldn't say trivial, but we are falling into this trap. Like, oh, when will the IRGC? This has came up earlier. When will the IRGC fall? That doesn't really matter. If it shows enough cracks, we could just declare them a failed state, right? So that's you don't need the perfect IRGC going into a civil war plan to work. If you could get them fighting good enough, so that you could declare a government in exile. That's just one example. One pushback I got, and I respect it, and I admit I don't know a lot about the Bedouin culture or how much there is of that before Islam,
Focus on
right? I don't
Trump,
know.
guys. Focus on Trump
Focus
because
on
going
Trump.
from
Okay.
yeah, because people are going to be confused. Like we're talking about Trump
Okay, I'll focus
attacking
on
the
Trump.
Islamic Republic and the pre-Islamic Bedouin Arab tribes. Like what the hell? Like what is this? So yeah, let's
Okay,
focus
so
on.
it was a thing about culture, people tying people to good culture. But the thing about Trump, the thing about the blockade, is the blockade perfect? Can you take the blockade off? Yes, because there's still a good plan. Go after the ships. You can just go after the ships. You don't need to have the blockade be localized there. You what we want is the strait to be open so that we can get the ships that are trapped there. There's 20,000 souls trapped there for months, right? So we want them out. If we can remove the blockade, but still chase down any ship that comes out of Iran and stop any ship that goes in by just firing a rocket into their engine room, that'll work just as well as a blockade. You understand what I'm saying? So we when Jeffrey talked about decoupling from China, is there a perfect plan to decouple from China? No, but we're taking many different steps, like friendshoring and offshoring, having partners in South America where we can get these rare earth minerals, where we can go to Venezuela and get this the heavy crude that is used for plastics and textiles. That is not the same as the light crude used for fuel. So as long as we have a multifaceted approach that is good, we're trying to chase down good. We're not going to we should not, I mean, some of us will do it. You always need to not be in an echo chamber. That's something we do here. We're not in an echo chamber. We push back against each other. That's fine. But you can't destroy every single plan that comes up in search of that perfect plan, because there is no perfect. You won't find perfect among humans. Even the religious people and the people that are not religious or not even faithful will tell you you can't find perfect in humanity. We're imperfect humans. We're not going to come up with a perfect thing. We have to go for the good. Understand and recognize the good before you pick it apart because it's not perfect. So that's what I wanted to put in there, because I've said this before. I don't want the people of Iran, the people who can hear us better now, to think that good things are not happening. I want them to understand that they're not perfect, and they will know themselves and feel themselves and their own suffering and their own toil through the days when they're over there, that this is not perfect, but good is happening, and we have good plans, and good will come. Good will come, that good day when The toppling will happen. Good things are coming. It may not be perfect, but we are all working towards that greater good for all
Let's go to
everyone.
responses. Uh, Guy.
Yeah, so in keeping with that, a small update that just popped up. I'm translating from Hebrew. This is apparently new. The US has just sanctioned the largest digital asset stock markets in Iran, as well as their leaders, due to their support in the terror activities of the Islamic regime and its efforts to avoid sanctions. So a lot is still happening. Like however much they've been squeezed, they're now being squeezed even more. And so let's let things play out.
Just quickly on that, I just don't know why people don't appreciate the level of damage that we have inflicted upon the Islamic Republic in just the past few months. Like, I don't know if, I know that people are in a hurry, but if you just zoom out a little bit, nothing like this. I don't know. This to me, this has been the most, even without the economic pressure and the political mind games that they have played with the Islamic Republic. This has been, just focusing on the military operations alone, this has been the most successful military operations, I think, in history. I don't know, maybe I'm
I
exaggerating,
agree.
but yeah, this is like some crazy amount of progress in such a short amount of time. And people are like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Like, what the hell? Like, have you not seen? Like, this? I don't know. Like, yeah, I think people are not appreciating how much progress we made.
Yeah, and any leader that isn't Donald Trump or Netanyahu, the media coverage would look very different. And we have to give Scotty B his flowers. He's been doing an excellent job. He's like the silent killer. He's like Salt.
All right. Let's go on to Jeffrey.
What Sketch said. So it's definitely desirable to take anticipatory approaches towards mitigating unintended negative secondary consequences, refining your stuff. That said, Sketch is right. You can't allow yourself to be in pursuit of that, be paralyzed from action. He's right on the money. You shouldn't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, particularly if you're operating within time compression. Well done, Sketch.
Okay. Next, I have a response from Jonathan. Um, I think that the problem is that we want to be sure that it will work in the end. I think people are worried that the regime will crack down hard on the Iranian people, going door to arrest them for treason if the US leaves now while leaving the regime in place.
Right. So
Right?
that's just really quickly. Sarah also in the chat was saying, yes, it's been great, but the regime is coming down hard on the people, so we are panicking. So yeah, so to be fair, when Iranian people are responding that way, I don't. That's not what I meant. Okay. But from the perspective of Iranian people, every time they are expressing frustration, I see where they're coming from, and I don't judge that. I was talking about maybe non-Iranians who are expressing frustration over, are we there yet? Like, I don't see what they're where they're coming, unless they're also caring about the Iranian people. But yeah, from the perspective of people in Iran, I don't judge that. I completely understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Arhada?
I just think that when we're talking about this and perspectives and trying to be patient with Trump and the military and et cetera, we have to remember the human side of things. And we do have Iranians inside right now, occupied Iran, that are really struggling, depressed, desperate, no jobs, no money, no food, no water, no medical supplies, et cetera. And, in some areas, locked down. And I just think that when we're talking about this, we have to remember that there are literally people inside suffering, dying, being executed, tortured, imprisoned, etc. So anyway, that's just my perspective on this. And of course, there's many dissidents and diaspora and non-Iranian supporters on the outside that are suffering for the same exact reasons. So when we are talking about, why is Trump being so slow? Why is nothing happening? let's just wait for the Islamic regime to fall, etc., etc., etc. Well, like I said, I just think that we need to take that into consideration. That's all.
Okay, next is Yuval.
I don't have any idea who's speaking.
Yuval Berger.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go on.
Yes.
Okay. So regarding Armin's comment about why people don't appreciate the damage that was caused to Iran, I think what happens is, as opposed to if you take, let's say, I don't know, the Second World War as comparison, in the time of printed press. In the time of printed press, essence mattered far more than facade, because the news was just you could have a whole campaign and it would be summarized in one printed article. Regrettably today, because of the role of media and digital media, facade counts far more than it used to, and essence counts far less. So you and I can sit and mathematically prove that this is the greatest military victory of the century. But as long as people go on TikTok or on other social media and see an Iranian spokesman saying we are victorious, all our logical calculations doesn't matter. Because there is no victory image. I mean, you can show 1,000 videos of facilities being demolished, but all the regime has to do is to show a video of on Piers Morgan. What's the name of that professor that speaks for them? I forgot his name.
Muhammad
Send
Marandi.
that professor Marandi. Yeah, send Marandi to speak for 20 minutes on Piers Morgan. And as far as the average Gen Zer, Iran is still standing on the regime is still standing on its feet, and the war hasn't been decided yet. That's the reason people don't appreciate it. Once the regime won't be able to say with a straight face we are winning or we're holding on, only then will victory be achieved in the eyes of most people. That's it's just the nature of our times.
Can I respond to that really quickly?
Yes.
Please.
So,
I mean,
so this is it's another part of the nature of our times, is that if they could put videos on TikTok, we could also put videos on TikTok. So you're completely correct that the objective reality is not enough. The marketing, the reaching out, the advertising of our positions are also important. And that's why we need to do a better job at not just knowing the facts, but also selling the facts. So if they're on TikTok, we should be on TikTok. If they're on Instagram, we should be on Instagram, and we need more volume. One thing that we're trying to eventually do with this group, and this is just the beginning of it, is to make this into an incubator of activists. Well, your mic is open, by the way. Find the people that make the best points in the whose mic is up? Find the people that could be very efficient at making the points in the most interesting ways, in the most effective way, and then use AI and other technologies to make it look good. And basically instead of do trial and error, put all the content out there, cut out the most interesting parts, put it on all social media, see what gets the best engagement, and then come back, like create a laboratory of the best content to put out there to basically fight against that type of narrative. So that's point one. Point two, you're completely correct that the regime needs to admit defeat. And this is why, so do we have the military operations, and we have the psychological warfare and the political. This is why the ceasefire was so important, right? So the military operation, no matter how many times you bomb these fuckers, they keep saying like we're winning. It doesn't matter how much stuff you blow. The regime can sell the idea that we're still winning to their own supporters, right? And they can also use people like Piers Morgan and other people and Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson to convince Americans that they're also winning, right? There are certain things that makes it undeniable that they're losing. For example, if they enrich uranium leaves Iran, and also if the Strait of Hormuz opens. The reason why that's undeniable, because then you get the regime supporters themselves attacking the regime, because those are their red lines. And this is why the political game and the ups and downs and the ceasefire and the negotiations are such an important part of this, because that's the thing that causes division, and that's the thing that causes the regime people attack other regime people for their failure. So when we're talking about the Islamic Republic, we should make sure we have to understand that it's not a monolith. There are in different segments that they have, that they are basically competing against each other. So if we give them enough reason to show to their own followers that they're losing, instead of having us pointing out that they're losing, they will accuse of each other of losing and being, how what they're doing. So here's the thing. For example, if you have in the United States some Democrats saying Trump is losing, and the Islamic Republic takes that and goes on state TV, see, like, look, the Americans are admitting that they're losing. And if we have now in Israel some people saying that Netanyahu hasn't performed well, and the Islamic Republic takes that and goes to state media and says, look, the Israelis admitting that they're losing, and that means that we're winning. This is what we need to do to them, because of their own internal competition and infighting. At some, we're going to get their own people attacking other people within the regime, accusing them of not being strong enough. We already have a lot of that, and we go take that. We basically, that's exactly what they do to us. We go take that and we go outside and be like, look, they're admitting that they're losing. This is exactly their tactic, and we use it against them. And then we need to make viral videos about that. Look, the Islamic Republic. We need to make videos that within few seconds shows that the Islamic Republic is admitting defeat, and this is why President Trump is winning. That's what we need to do, and we need to figure out a formula for making these things go viral.
Okay, Yuval, respond quickly, please.
Yes, because today people don't respond logically. That is, people will handpick what suits them in the news and in what media provides them. I'm all for what you suggested. It's just that regrettably, or this particular war will have to be won with a knockout and not on points, for people to understand who won this war. That's all I have to say. It's unfortunate. It'd be very nice if it could have been won on points, but unless there is the regime saying we surrender, a lot of people in the world will simply consider it as if they didn't.
I
And
completely
now
agree
I'm
that it needs to be a knockout, but you can't get a knockout unless you have the political capital. So that you have to do them both at the same time. You can't focus. I completely agree that you need to get a knockout, but we have democracies and you need to buy in from the people. So to get a knockout, you need to get political capital, and to get political capital, you also have to keep fighting in the narrative war. I don't by the way, I don't agree with the idea that people are less logical today than they were before. If you look at people historically haven't been that smart on average either, individually at least. I mean, I believe in the wisdom of the crowd, but historically I don't think like we're like more dumb than before. I think we're pretty much the same. If you just go like what people used to just buy and accept before, right? So I don't think that, I think we just get to see more dumb things and more wise things, but on average I think we're the same as how we always used to be.
Okay, and then Sketch wanted to correct something that he said, and then we really have to move on.
Oh, now you guys are misinterpreting me completely. What I'm saying is us that are on the side of Iran. This is who I'm talking to with this. We who are on the side of Iran should instead, because the Iranians who are suffering, which this is my whole point, they are suffering greatly. They are going through incredible hardships. We don't want to be a source for their disheartening. Yes, we can put in a little bit of a bitter, a bitter slice of truth in there, but we can sandwich it between slices of truth that is not bitter, that is good. You know, there's going to be that bitter slice in there that says, hey, this is not perfect, there are problems here, but we should sandwich it in with, hey, look at this good thing that is happening in Iran. Hey, look at this other good thing that is happening in Iran, because we don't want them to lose hope. We don't. Once you lose hope, I mean, food is not even as important as hope, because without hope, you don't even want to eat. That's why hunger people can do hunger strikes, because they lose the will to eat, even though it would kill them. You don't want them to prefer death to suffering, to give up. So that was my main point. It's I'm talking to us. I'm not talking about the media that's going to spin. I'm not talking about all those other places that are against us and spinning us for their own political capital. I'm talking about the people that are supportive of Iran. It's not perfect, and you don't want to be in that echo chamber. You want to be a realistic. You want to say, hey, this isn't perfect, this little bad thing or this big bad thing is happening, but look at this good and look at this good, like sandwich it in, so now that they can see us, they don't lose hope. That was my point.
Thank you. Let's do super chats.
Okay. All right. Let me see. All right, we got two super chats from Attila. Thank you so much, Attila, constantly supporting us, saying, "This is what I mean. Hostile to us propaganda is stronger than we think. Hostile to us propaganda is stronger than we think." What do you get? Oh, yeah. Okay, Jeffrey, go ahead. You respond to that.
She means counter strategic information influence operations to undermine and fragment and amplify the fragmentation of the IRGC.
That was, I didn't understand that. Can you repeat that in a more in English?
She's saying that the soft power aspect, right? Like the
Mhm.
hostile propaganda against the IRGC has has more impact,
Okay.
I think,
Okay.
given what she said before about Chicons.
Okay. Thank you. By the way, guys, for people who are new here, Jeffrey, when it says Chai comes, he means Chinese Communist Party. Okay, that's what Chai comes. And he says that because he wants to differentiate the Chinese Communist Party with the Chinese people, because we're not against the Chinese people. That's why he says it. And then Attila with another super chat saying regime supporters are appealing to a multi-generational propaganda perspective, which includes anti-capitalism, true, anti oh anti-Islamic regime propaganda. Oh, anti-Islamic regime propaganda is just starting up. We have to be smart about it to win this. True, true. That's why um I think people underestimate how much we have to win on the against the propaganda. I know you've always saying that, I think you've always more interested in focusing on military, but the Islamic Republic's main strength is in propaganda, and humiliation has weakened them. I've seen humiliation weakening them. We need the psychological warfare as well against them. In fact, I think the battle of the narratives, the information warfare, and the psychological warfare has had contributed more recently to weakening the Islamic Republic even than some of the military actions. Not all, but even some of the military actions. And oh, Nail Bunny with a super chat. Thank you so much. Nail Bunny came and give us a super chat saying, "Armin, enjoy lunch. Remember to chew instead of like breathing my food in, right? Also, there should be fat in your meals. You need fat. It's what your cell membranes are made of." Yes, Nail Bunny, I actually not one of those people who is like just only like focuses on calories. I do not only I have fat in my food, I make sure that I pick the exact right type of fat, right? Like I manage exactly, like I eat a lot of sardines, and I think that's a very good source of fat. So, and thank you. Yes, we need fat in our food. So yeah, don't nutrition wise, my food is like, I think, perfect. It's just missing some blueberries. Once I manage to add some blueberries into my diet, then there's no better diet in the world. It's the almond diet, right? And thank you for that reminder, by the way. I also drink milk. There's fat there. All right, and then we have, well, look at this, Neil Bunny thinking about my health. That's so sweet. Isn't that sweet? Like we have the best we have the best community, Neil Bunny. Like, thank you. And then we have Amir getting us to 10 super chats. We reached our goal. Look at that. Amir with the confetti. Oh, and then we have 11. Amir saying confetti. But seriously, listen to Nail Bunny. Yes, I will. Okay, I will. I will. I promise. What I need is my health related stuff is more steps. My sleep is could be 1 hour more. My food is good. I'm just getting 5,000 steps a day instead of the 10,000 that I like to. I need to figure out how to add that to my routine. And then we got another super chat from Sarah. Thank you so much, Sarah, saying, Armin, thank you for your contribution to this revolution. Oh my God, look at that. That's the best you guys give me so much motivation. Thank you. And says Azizi. Oh my God, basic Azizi means you're loved. And then say love you. Love you too, Sarah. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys. That was a lot. Thank you so much. I feel it's very wholesome. All right. So what's next?
Richard, about Trump. Wait, did we already cover this Trump BB feud, Richard?
Yeah, you probably missed it in the chat, but I asked you to change the topic to the Fox News interview analysis because I already said that in the response to the Trump BB thing.
Okay.
So
Then
it's a super quick question though.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's do it.
So it's really more of a comment than a question. But I think Armin, I noticed that you and Goldie were talking on the show yesterday about a little confusion as to why the Trey Yingst interview was constantly referring to Kali Buff as a quote unquote moderate. And I think, this is kind of an example of media narratives that we deal with in America. If you live in America, I think maybe you're a little more attuned to it. Network news is going to give you facts with a political spin, mixed in with political narrative. And the narrative will obviously depend on what network you're watching. I say this as a very conservative, far right Republican. Fox News does it with Republican talking points frequently. I expect they're trying to manage expectations and create, what's, sort of plant the seeds for what's going to be a pro-Trump narrative. If they can get the deal with Kalibaf, then they can basically fall back on the idea that they called him a moderate, that they frame that idea in people's mind that he is a moderate. Not that he really is, but that basically it's part of Trump's plan to set Kalibaf and the anti-IRGC forces against the IRGC and sort of give Trump credit for the internal collapse of the regime. So it has more to do with shaping the political narrative for the people watching than it does with accurately reporting facts, as you've seen them. So that could be one explanation as to why they sort of twist things a little bit on that respect.
See, that's actually a very good point, and I tell you why I think we shouldn't be against it, and you tell me what you think, Richard. Right? So this also goes. I think this goes in line with my view that Fox News makes decisions based on keeping their audience and their understanding of who their audience is, and their audience wants Trump to win, so they might be planning long term to make sure that they have their narratives right to be able to show that Trump is winning. But I also think this works in our favor as well, because we might hate it for, like, Ghalibaf is obviously not a moderate. Okay, he's like he's responsible for killing so many Iranians for just for asking for their rights. Like, he has a long history of that. Okay, and he's evil, and he's obviously have supported a lot of terrorist activities against Israelis and Americans. He was actually in charge of many of them. Right? So he's not a moderate, but I think it actually helps, like, putting our emotions aside. I think it helps calling him a moderate and reasonable and somebody that is more flexible, because that puts a target on his back internally within Iran, right? If Trump thinks you're a moderate, if the anti-Islamic, the most aggressively anti-Islamic Republic Americans, like, and the audience of Fox News thinking, are calling Ghalibaf a moderate, what the pro-regime people hear is treason, right? As somebody, what the fuck have you done that they're calling you now a moderate? Because the label moderate is for, I don't know, they see the word moderate by Americans to be used on Zarif, Rouhani, and Muhammad Khatami, which obviously to their mind, these are Zionist infiltrators, like spies, agents of the American imperialists and Israelis. So now they think you're a moderate. So what the fuck? Are you like Rouhani now? So I think not only you're right, it But we also shouldn't be angry about it. I think it actually might help us rather than hurt us.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I also don't think it's necessarily fair in the current media environment to criticize networks for the political narratives. Objectivity doesn't have much of a market value in the American media market. They play to their audiences. This is part of the business strategy as much as it is political. I think the idea that there could be enemy forces watching it and getting ideas like that and have using that as sort of an information propaganda campaign against them is an added bonus. It's not necessarily the intended effect, but it could be used for that effect. So I agree with absolutely that could work to our advantage.
By the way, Richard, did you call I think I missed that. Did you call yourself far right?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't. Okay, interesting. I haven't seen, usually, people on the right, they say like far right is something, a label that people put on them. I haven't seen somebody on the right call themselves far right. Is there a reason why you're self-labeling yourself as far right?
I'm basing it on the right wing tables from the French Revolution. Traditional conservative values, basically nationalist values. The groups that call themselves far right, especially in America, aren't really right wing at all. So I'm saying that sort of take the name back and make sure that it's help people to understand the true meaning of the word far right, because it's nothing like what these groups have sort of claimed it is.
My name is Armin Navabi. I'm an Iranian political analyst with decades of experience fighting the Islamic regime inside and outside of Iran. Make sure you follow me for more, and also make sure you join our discussion group. I'm there almost every single day. Come talk to me there and the rest of the people there in our group calls. It's a great place to meet and talk to people who like talking about politics. The link is in the description and or in the bio. You could also get there by scanning the QR code on the screen. See you there.